AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. Good Friday to you. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson with you. Bret Baier's online, host of Special Report. Bret Baier, 6 o'clock. No, we don't have him right now. We're trying to get Bret Baier. I was going to tell him that this week, because my wife was out of town and she took the kids with them, I was able to, have some bachelor time in the household. And, there are a lot of different ways you can spend bachelor time. You can sit around drinking beer and, watching sports, listening to music, playing Xbox and things like that. I spent most of my time watching Bret Baier on the Fox News channel.
You have such an exciting life.
I do. I really do have an exciting life. And I watch the show every day this week, and it's a great show. I just wanted to tell him that. But the funny thing is that Bret did an interview with the president back in 2010. He did an interview with the president in 2010. We have Bret Baier on the line right now. Good morning, Bret. How are you?
Good morning.
I was just saying,
that's all right. 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Busy.
I was just saying that my wife took the kids away this week, and I was able to actually watch your show for a longer period of time. Uninterrupted, and it was fantastic for me. And I want to go down the road, and Wilson's going to roll his eyes, because even though I'm not eligible for Medicare for another 30 years, I'm still fascinated and consumed by it and by this discussion. But you did an interview. You conducted an interview with the president at the White House, I believe, in 2010, and you got to talking about Obamacare and Medicare and the amount of money. The Romney team says the president has stolen $716 billion out of Medicare to pay for Obamacare. And this was a question that you asked him back in 2010, and explain exactly how it went down.
All right. Basically, this, they say stolen, but it's cuts. It is savings on Medicare that the Obama administration is applying to Obamacare. The Medicare actuary describes it this way. He says that Medicare savings, the $716 billion, on the trust funds and on the federal budget, and the interactions between these. Basically, the bottom line is that $1 in Medicare savings isn't enough to cover $1 worth of paying for Obamacare and another $1 of extending the Medicare trust fund solvency. That takes $2. So either you have $1 doing one thing or you have $2. So basically they're using it twice and increasing the deficit and debt by doing it that way. And that's his own chief Medicare actuary saying that, and I pressed the president on that. He didn't give a
real answer to that. Now, the savings, so the savings, and at the time when you asked the question in 2010, it was like $500 billion, and it has since ballooned to $716 billion.
That's right.
All right, so it's ballooned by $200 billion in only 2 years, which I think is an important point as well. But did Paul Ryan's budget, and I know they're not running on Paul Ryan's budget or Paul Ryan's plan, did he do the same thing with that $716 billion, or at the time $500 billion?
Okay, so he keeps the savings, but instead of using the $716 billion for another spending, an outlay, like Obamacare, he puts the $716 billion right into the solvency of Medicare. So thereby truly extending Medicare. Now, if you just kill Obamacare, and you don't do anything with Medicare, you don't do anything to address it, the solvency of Medicare goes from 2024 to 2016.
Wow.
So you have to address it in some way, shape, or form. And that is the issue for the Romney campaign and for Republicans.
I noticed, because I follow you on Twitter, and some of the people over there at the Fox News Channel, I noticed you were out on the road quite a bit.
What?
I was regaled by the kinds of foods you were eating, but also at the core of it all, though, was a real discussion of the crisis facing many cities in America. Tell me a little bit about what you found.
We bounced around the country going to these cities that were declaring bankruptcy, and we're on the verge of declaring bankruptcy, and we did an hour called Cities Going Broke. And it was just fascinating, Brian. It was really sad. A lot of these city councils knew that this crisis was coming, and yet didn't really think or see to address it by not signing these contracts and sweetheart deals with with unions, pledging pensions and salaries for years and years to come. So they came to the end of the line, and the recession hit, and they just couldn't put it together. And so, each city is different, but many they can't do it. And they're either going to declare bankruptcy or they're going to cut services dramatically. And in a place like Stockton, California, that's having a really adverse effect on safety.
Wow. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. I mean, citizens there said, when they call the police, they're just not sure whether they're going to come.
Wow.
Amazing. All right. So, we've spent some time, and obviously there's been some fodder about Joe Biden and the speculation that they would actually drop him from the ticket. Would they ever actually do that this late in the game?
No. We had a question and answer yesterday with Jay Carney. Ed Henry posed that question, and I think others did as well.
You know what I liked about the answer, though, was something that when he said that was decided some time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, but, I mean, it sounds like the conversation occurred, perhaps, at some point.
Exactly. Like it was talked about. I think, I thought back when the vice president got ahead of the president on same-sex marriage, that while that was really a problem inside the White House, it maybe endeared the vice president on the left to the point where it would be pretty tough for that party to make a change. I think it's far too late, and they continue to say that. That said, they do have some angst in the inner walls there about Joe Biden, and that's evidenced by the Politico report yesterday that the vice president's staff was trying to alter or affect pool reports of the press pool.
Yeah.
They send in just a few reporters into events, and they were trying to say, well, didn't he say it this way, to kind of
edit,
massage his gaffes, if you will.
Yeah. All right. So I have to ask you about this because we were just discussing it, and I know you're a music fan. Aerosmith is going to be on 60 Minutes this Sunday, and they're called one of the last great American rock bands. What was the last great American rock band, Brett? I mean, was it Guns N' Roses, like I believe, or maybe is today's rock music any good compared to what it was in the 80s and maybe even early 90s and 70s?
See, that's a great question. See, when I was growing up, I was a Rush fan.
Oh, fantastic.
I was a Rush guy.
Although they're Canadian. But
yeah, I know.
Right.
So it's not really American. So I could go with Guns N' Roses. But, Aerosmith, I liked a few songs. I just never was sold.
All right. That's the right answer. And that's why we like Bret Baier. All right, Bret, get back to the kids. We appreciate it.
By the way, right now on the Fox News Channel, Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
There you go, baby.
Free bird.
Yeah.
We're gonna see them in Tampa.
That's right.
We'll see you guys.
7:45 at 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL. Traffic, weather together every 10 minutes. First of the fives, here's Jamie Whitten.
Brian, it's 66 jammed. Watch coming in through Fair Oaks.